Previously on Third and Roll.
And we enter the green rectangle, this parliament of football.
Looks as though we've got the line judge is giving some additional scrutiny to the placement of the ball on the field. I'm wondering why, because that's supposed to be his job. A nice little wallop. That's thirdandroll@gmail.com. Spell third whatever way you want. We've got all of them.
It is an age of Canadian football domination. In the West, the Edmonton Eskimos are a dynasty without equal. Behind the quarterback tandem of Tom Wilkinson and Warren Moon, the Eskimos won 5 consecutive Grey Cup championships between 1978 and 1982. In the East, 4 teams battle it out through a 6-game season to see who will meet Edmonton in the championship game. The Toronto Argonauts have not hoisted a Grey Cup since 1952. Will this be their year? Let's find out. This is Third and Roll.
Welcome to Third and Roll, a Canadian football board game podcast. This is the podcast where we play the 1985 board game Canadian Armchair Football. My name is Spencer. I'm here with my brother Alex.
Hello.
Today is episode 11. The Argonauts continue to be on the road against the last place Montreal Alouettes. I continue to be calling the plays and rolling the dice for Toronto, and Alex is doing the same for Montreal. Today on the show, we have the second quarter of this game, as well as Todd Gray continuing his interview with Argo linebacker Ron Southwick. So we're getting ready to start the second quarter. Let's throw you up into the booth where Edward Welch and Norman Knuckleberger will be calling the action on the field. Edward, take it away. Wow, thank you very much, folks. We are back here for the start of the second quarter. There was quite a bit of controversy at the end of that quarter, as there was a rare objectionable conduct against the Montreal coach for calling the same play twice in a row. He will not do that again, I will assure you. The Argos have a 7-3 lead now. Montreal is getting ready to kick the ball off to the Argos. Norman, do you have any thoughts on the first quarter there?
Well, the Argos just stormed down the field like they were comfortable, and the Montreal Alouettes just seemed to be struggling to just figure out even what to do. But they're only down by 4, and they managed to get through in one piece, more or less. So let's see what this new quarter brings. Those thoughts are, I really could have done without saying any of those thoughts, but that's football. Sometimes you have a good narrative and sometimes you don't have anything clear to say. It's football. Some football is played. We got some more football to play. Here we go.
We are ready to go. We've got Jerry McGrath on the field. He's at his own 45-yard line getting ready to kick it off. That is a 50-yard boot. So that is going to go from the 45 down to the Argos 15-yard line. Argos have got the ball. He breaks it from the 15 to the 25 to the 35, and he gets brought down at the 35-yard line. That is a great way to start the second quarter. Argos looking to build on this lead against the last place Alouettes.
Oh, the Argos look so happy to be back on offense here with the wide green field in front of them, just ready to move that ball.
So Argos, we've got Jackson. He is looking to throw the ball deep downfield. He is taking a lot of time with it. There is a lot of coverage on the play. Folks, this is something that has not happened before. He looks as though he might be sacked. Can Jackson escape? Jackson does not. Jackson gets brought back 2 yards. I can't believe we're saying this. This is the 4th game of the year, but that is the very first sack of the 1980 season. And who was it? It was, oh boy, it was a corner blitz there. We had Randy Rhino coming in off of the corner, knocked him down, pushed him back 2 yards. So, yes, the great Montreal defensive back, Randy Rhino.
Yeah, baby!
So it's going to be 2nd and 12 Argos. Jackson is dusting the dirt off of his pants. He is looking to redeem himself. He is not looking at Metcalf. He's waving Metcalf to the side. He's saying, Metcalf, go back to the sidelines. He is doing a pass from option, and that ball is looking for Greer over the middle. It is up, and it is incomplete. Incomplete. That is a very quick 3 and out for the Argos. Not how they wanted to start. Norman, what did you think about that Argos drive there?
Well, I almost think of it was an Argos drive, but I think of that as an Alouettes defensive drive. That was they get the first sack ever in Canadian Armchair Football, and then they completely cover all possible receivers. Pass falls incomplete. Some defensive pride for Montreal.
They are really coming out here to perform for their coach, trying to really put a smile on his face after that, the way that first quarter ended. So we've got coming onto the field
Zenon Andrushishin.
He is getting ready to punt. That is a 50-yard punt from Zenon Andrushishin. Alouettes on the run back, and the Alouettes get nothing. Oh, goodness. It was a very good punt. Absolutely nothing on the return there, and with that, it's going to be
First down, Montreal.
from the Alouettes' 17-yard line. Wow, so we've got Barnes, Green, and Baker back on the field. It's a pitch out to Green. He goes to the right, and he picks up 6 yards. 6 yards there before he was brought down by Bruce Clark. So with that, it's going to be
Second down
and 4 for the Alouettes. Barnes keeping the ball in his hands here. He is looking for Baker. And what's this? We have...
There's a flag on the play.
So a flag has been called. We need to roll to see what type of flag it was.
All right, we have a flag on the play. That was offensive holding. That's a 10-yard penalty. It's going to be second and... Line judge, where are we at? Is that a 2nd and 14? It's a 2nd and 15 there. All right, folks. 2nd and 15. I'm going to turn my mic off now. Thank you.
The Montreal coach is just, that anger starting to come back once again, because that's just one of those little penalties that just shuts everything down. Although, once again, I'm surprised that the Argos are not declining the penalty since it was an incomplete pass. Could have brought up 3rd down. But the Argos, they just seem to really enjoy enforcing those penalties.
That's something that we're really going to have to talk to the Argos coach about, and we're going to have to let the play finish, and then we'll have to assess the penalties after the fact. So we've got Barnes back. He's going for a long pass. He is going right back to Baker, and looks as though it's a completion. Baker picks up how many yards did Baker
30
pick up there?
yards. Wow.
Wow, a 30-yard pass. Let's see if he can do something in terms of yards after the catch. And he picks up an additional 5. So that was 35 yards. It is going to be
First down, Montreal.
from their own 48-yard line. Wow.
Wow.
Barnes really redeeming himself here, handing it off to Green. Green with the reverse, and he gets stuffed. That was no gain there on the play. Barnes hurrying it up here, going back to a pass for option, and that ball is up in the air. And who is this? We've got Argos defensive back Preston Young coming in and swatting that ball down to the ground. Wow. That is an incomplete pass. That brings up 3rd down.
Now, that's a play I always love to see, when the ball is about to be caught and then the defender just swats it out of the way. I will never get tired of that kind of play.
Okay, so the Alouettes are not going to go for it on 3rd and long. We have Jerry McGrath on for the punt. That ball is up, and it is a
45-yard punt.
Well, that's a pretty nice punt. Let's see what the Argos can do on the return.
Oh, but I'm seeing some laundry on the field.
Well, let's wait until the play is over before we start doing that. So with the return, it's a 5-yard return, and yes, Norman, you're absolutely right. There's a
flag on the play.
There is a flag on the play. Let's go right back to the referee to see what that's all about.
There is a flag on the receiving team. Blocking from the ear, clipping. That is a 15-yard penalty. Linemen push the Argos back 15 yards. I'm not going to say where they are in the field. I'll leave that up to the announcer.
Well, thank you very much for that. It is going to be a
First down, Toronto.
the Argos with the ball at their own 14-yard line.
Greetings from the desk of Dr. Photius Ballunicus. The 5th century Gallo-Roman poet and bishop Gaius Solius Modestus Apollinaris Sidonius, commonly known as Saint Sidonius Apollinaris, provides a dramatic account of an older man who attempts to make his way into the fray of a football game. As he describes in his letter, now the illustrious Philmatius sturdily flung himself into the squadrons of the players like Virgil's hero, daring to set his hand to the task of youth. He had been a splendid player himself in his youth, but over and over again he was forced from his position among the stationary players by the shock of some runner from the middle, and driven into the midfield, where the ball flew past him or was thrown over his head, and he failed to intercept or parry it. More than once he fell prone and had to pick himself up from such collapses as best he could. Naturally, he was the first to withdraw from the stress of the game.
Welcome back, folks. Here we are. We are halfway through the second quarter.
So as we now enter the second half of the second quarter, we can think of it as the 4/8, for those who enjoy thinking of it that way.
Looks as though you love fractions, Norman. So we have Jackson under center.
Well, don't get me started on the fractional football field, because I think instead of just numbers from 1 to 100, we should actually use fractions to say there's the half line, the quarter line, the third line. But yeah, that's for another time.
Yes, we'll table that for after the discussion about why isn't the football field done in meters.
Well, that's a whole other can of worms you're just opening up right there.
I really should not have done that. I should have waited until after the game. All right, we have Jackson handing it off to Metcalf for a draw play.
Also, they could also measure it in cubits. I think that'd be reasonable.
Well, maybe we'll learn some more from Dr. Photius Ballunicus about that. All right, so we have Jackson handing it off to Metcalf. That is a pickup of 4. A pickup of 4 there. So with that, it's going to be
Second down.
a 2nd and 6 for the Argos, and Jackson is looking for a screen pass. It's a screen pass. I threw 2 6s. Oh, boy. All right, so we have Jackson going deep. Jackson, he's got Greer down the left-hand sideline. We've got Randy Rhino there as well. Greer with the ball, and it flies off of his fingers. Greer, he is a future Hall of Famer, folks. Again, it should not take 30 years to get him into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, but maybe with catches like that, that's why something like that could happen.
He's lying. He is fracking lying!
But I hope not. I hope not. He is an all-time Argo. He just did not show that on that particular case, and so it's going to be a 3rd and 6 now for the Argos with 5.5 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Well, you can just feel the frustration when it's a ball right off the fingertips. I mean, you can touch it, but you just can't quite grab it.
That was a really good display there by the Montreal Alouettes. They have been able to hold the Argos. I don't believe they've had a first down in this entire second quarter so far. So this is 2 consecutive 3-and-outs. We have the Argos are coming on to punt. We've got
Zenon Andrishishin.
on to punt. That ball is up in the air. That one came off the left-hand side of his foot. It is veering to the left, just like post-war West Germany there. Wow. Let's see what the Alouettes can do on the return. Alouettes are able to pick up 10. Alouettes, they are going to be getting the ball on the Argo side of field. It is going to be first down Montreal at the 47-yard line.
This is really where you get the feeling of the game being a game of field position. When you get this short field, the Argos pinned into their own end, couldn't even clear it from their own half, and the Alouettes looking at a short field.
This is Chad Owens, the Flying Hawaiian and former receiver for the Toronto Argonauts. You're listening to Third and Roll, a Canadian football board game podcast.
All right, we've got Barnes onto the field. Hands it off to Green. Green doing an end run. He's trying to get around the end, and he absolutely does not. He gets stopped there for no gain. The Argo linebacker, Ron Southwick, came in and held him for no gain, so that's going to be a 2nd and 10 now for the Alouettes.
Those end runs make me nervous. You see the guy running sideways. He's running towards the sidelines, and he's just looking to get around the corner. But everybody's running after him, and sometimes there is no corner. It's just a wall.
You know, they tell you whether you're a running back or you're a returner, you know, you got to run north-south. You can't run east-west, but you know what? When those end runs work and they get to the edge, it's a pleasure to see. So I honestly, I'm not going to blame them. I'm not going to blame them for that.
Unable to comply.
So we've got Barnes back under center. It's a pass from option. Barnes is looking for Baker, and that is a completion. Baker moving well down the field for
15 yards.
Wow, 15 yards to Baker. He's got the ball. Let's see what he can do after the catch. And Baker picks up an additional 8. So, wow, that was a 23-yard pass. Barnes to Baker, having a little bit of fun out there. Wow, what is this? What is this Montreal team, and where have they been all season?
Here they go at the 20-yard line, another yard line which I think should have some kind of special name because this is right at the edge of the red zone. Maybe they should call this the red line.
I mean, I could. I don't.
It looks like he was about to call the same play twice, and he stopped himself just in time.
Yes, we saw the Montreal coach furiously running out onto the field and waving his arms thusly like he was a bird trying to take off, like he thought he himself was an Alouette that wanted to fly away, but he was able to get there in time. So we have Barnes. Looks as though it's a run from option. Barnes handing it off to David Green. David Green sees somebody in front of him, somebody from Penn State who wants to say hello. No gain. No gain there on the play, so it's going to be 2nd and 10. Alouettes. There is just over 3 minutes to go in the first half. Barnes doing a pass from option. That ball is up, and it is. It's caught. It is caught. He's got Baker. Baker picked up 10. Baker, is he going to lie prone on the field just like one of Virgil's heroes, or is he going to try to dance it into the end zone? Baker picks up an additional 7. Wow, that is a real hot connection from Barnes to Baker, and they are now down to the Argos 4-yard line.
Montreal having a lot of fun with that option. I mean, they pass from the option, they run from the option, and they pass from the option. They love having options.
Okay, so Montreal looking to punch the ball into the end zone. Barnes hands it off to Green. Green with the ball. And Green picks up 2. He picks up 2, so that's going to bring him down to the Argos 3, 2, 1, down to the Argos 1-yard line.
Well, here we go again, just like we saw in the first quarter, Argos making a stop right outside the gates.
Right outside the gate. So, Norman, you're quite the poet. Okay, so second and goal from the 1 yard line. Barnes keeping it to himself again. Barnes, and what happens there? Wow. Do I even have to say it? Another goal line stand from the Argos. Bruce Clark, the Penn State product who turned down the Green Bay Packers in the National Football League in order to come up here and play for our own Toronto Argonauts. He was able to stuff him there. So with that, it's going to be, once again,
3rd and roll.
That's right. 3rd and goal from the 1 yard line. What is Montreal going to do? And will Toronto let them do that? Or will there be more flags on the field? I don't know.
Can you believe it? I mean, this is exactly the same sequence that happened in the first quarter. Now, if the Montreal coach hasn't learned anything, he's going to try that quarterback sneak all over again. But I get the feeling that he has learned his lesson and he's going to try something else.
Well, Norman, I got to tell you, I feel like I'm back in my schoolboy days at Eton in philosophy class, and this is Nietzsche's eternal return of the same. You know, they say time is a flat circle, and boy, we are right back at it, right where we were before. We've got Barnes on the field, hands it off to Green, and Green gets nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. Goodness me, that is real. The air coming out of the stadium. Argos with another big stop. Norman, do you have any thoughts here?
The Argos defense does it all over again. 3 big stops right outside the goal.
And so that play brings us up to...
This is the 3-minute warning.
So with that, we are going to step away, and we will be right back right after this.
You're listening to 3rd and Roll. Can I say the same thing but in Tamil? நீங்கள் கேட்டுக்கொண்டிருப்பது 3rd and Roll.
Well, one of the players that was involved in that crucial 3rd down stop is the Argos linebacker Ron Southwick. Earlier this week, our interview man Todd Gray sat down with Ron, and this is the second part of that interview. Todd, take it away.
It's all about thinking you're going to move left. You know what? I'm going to move right. And that's how you win the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a winning strategy.
And when you say like they're going to move left and you're going to move right, it's because you're both facing each other, and because as the defensive player, you want to match where the offensive player is going, so you'll be able to tackle them, right? So that's genius. So they're moving there to the left. You're like, this sucker over here, he's moving to his left.
You gotta outthink him. Like there's subjectivity.
Yeah.
And there's objectivity. Right? And if you can think like they think and be subjective, then you can be objective.
Right. Now you caused a little bit of a controversy when you were at McMaster. I mean, a lot of football players, depending on, what kind of scholarship they have, they try not to well, I don't want to cast aspersions on football players and what they're taking in terms of the courses. But you caused a little bit of a stir because you were really fascinated and you decided to major in epistemological philosophy. And some coaches were kind of scratching their heads at that at the time. But I could see based on here that it's done you good, and you're still thinking about these same kinds of concepts of, how do we know what we know? Do we know what we know?
Am I really there? Am I linebacker? Is the quarterback really throwing the football? What is the football? Are we just shadows on the cave? That's football, man.
Wow. That is some heavy stuff. Ron. Wow.
Yeah.
So you've had quite some success with the Argos. The Argos as a team are not doing so great. As you know, the Argos have not won a Grey Cup since 1952. It has now been 28 years as we're into the 1980 season. What do you think? What are you going to do to try to turn around the great ship Argo?
Well, you know, I think the Argos as a team have been playing the long game, and Toronto is one of those cities that's strategic, you know? They like to wait a long time before they win, so when they win, it really means something.
Wow.
I can imagine one day there'll be a big ticker tape parade for the Argos when we do finally win, and we're just waiting for the right time. There'll be like 1 million people downtown, and we'll have a major star who'd probably been in like the reboot of a teen show. I've got this whole scenario in my head, and he'll be there, and all the players will be on the bus with him, and we'll be drinking in his glory too, because teen TV shows are really important for the youth of today. That's my dream. And that's my dream for the Argonauts when we as a team are finally ready to embrace our destiny.
Thank you very much for that, Todd. We will have more with Todd and Ron Southwick next week. With that, let us bring you back to the action on the field. It is the 3-minute warning. Just a reminder that within the 3-minute warning, the clock will stop after every play. So the Argos could not have farther to go.
Yeah, we talked about the short field the Alouettes had, which wasn't short enough apparently, and now the Argos have the longest field possible. Got to go all the way, 109 yards.
109 yards. Well, the longest march begins with a single step. And with that in mind, we got Mark Jackson, who was looking to hand it off to Terry Metcalf. Nothing fancy here, just going right up the middle. It's a run over center. And with that, Metcalf picks up 6. So that's a good start there for the Argos. Got a little bit of room behind them. So it's going to be 2nd and 4 from their own 7-yard line. We had a little bit of rain here earlier today, but the sun is starting to shine through. Perhaps that is an omen to the Argos, or maybe it's an omen to the Alouettes, and that the sun will start shining on the second half of their season. Who knows? Maybe if they went 4-0 to close out the season, 3-0 to close out the season, maybe they can make the playoffs. I don't know. They're in the basement of the Eastern Division at this point. We'll see what happens.
Well, Edward, I never pegged you as a fortune teller, but you're really interpreting the signs here.
Traditionally, as a play-by-play caller, you're really just supposed to talk about what has immediately happened and not prognosticate what will happen in the future. That's for the guys down in the studio that get paid the big bucks. But, maybe I can transition later on in my career.
Possibly in the future, we may see Edward Welch prognosticating further.
Wow, that's a segment if I ever heard of one. So with that, we have 2 minutes and 50 seconds left in the first half. We've got Jackson going right back to Metcalf over to the left-hand side. Metcalf, and he gets nothing.
Huge stop by the Montreal defense once again. Wow.
Wow. Gord Judges dropping the law. And with that, it's going to be a 3rd and 4 for the Argos. There is 2 minutes and 33 seconds remaining in the second quarter. I know Willie Wood is a man that likes to gamble, but not in a situation like this, folks. Not a 3rd and 4 from your own 6-yard line.
Football often rewards an aggressive gambling play call, but to actually try to go for it on 3rd and 4 on your own 7-yard line, he would have to be checked into some kind of gambling addiction rehabilitation facility.
Not even if he was a secret Montreal double agent could a call like that be believed. The players would revolt. They absolutely would not have it. And why should they? Because they've got on their special teams. The man known as Big Z, but we call him Big Z because we're Canadian and that's how we pronounce that letter. We got the man who likes to do one thing. What does he do?
I kick.
That's right. That's right. We've got
Zenon Andrushishin
on for the punt. The protection looks good. The kick is up. That is a 45-yard kick.
There's a flag on the play.
There's a flag on the play, but let's see. Let's let it play out. Let's look at the return. Montreal picks up 13 yards, and what's this? We're seeing a lot of laundry on the field. We're seeing 2 flags on the play. We are going to have to do some real sorting out here. Still 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the second quarter. Okay, so let's go down to the referee.
All right, we have 2 calls, 2 flags on the play, 2 flags on the play. So, on the kicking team, we've got a 15-yard penalty. That's no yards. You are not allowed to touch the player when the ball is still in the air. You must be 5 yards back. They were not. Also on the play, we've got a roughing call on the return team. Also a 15-yard penalty. Those penalties offset. It will be first down Montreal.
Once again, Montreal gets the short field.
So with that,
first down Montreal.
From the Argos 41, they are spending a lot of time on the Argos side of the field here. Barnes hands it off to Green. It looks like it's a reverse. Nope, it's not a reverse. It is right up the middle, and Green picks up 1.
But it looks like that play is nullified because we have...
There's a flag on the play.
Offside by the defense, so I guess they call that encroachment.
You cannot get within that 1 yard neutral zone, so that is a 5-yard penalty, so that's going to make it a 1st and 5. That's assuming Montreal is accepting the penalty and is not declining it. Okay, so haven't said this in a while. It's a 1st and 5 for the Montreal Alouettes. Barnes going back to Green. Green with the ball. And Green gets pushed back. That's a loss of 2. Wow. So it's going to be a
second down.
2nd down and 7 for the Montreal Alouettes. There is 1 minute and 27 seconds remaining in the half. It's a pass from option. The pass is up. It's a completion. Barnes with the ball to Baker. Baker picked up 10 through the air. Let's see what he can do after the catch. He picks up an additional
20 yards.
Wow.
What a run. What a pass and run play. Just when it looked like they were being completely stopped, offense is going nowhere. Someone breaks through. But once again, the Argos just they just do not want to allow anybody through that final step into their end zone. They're just stopping right outside once again.
The Argos with their back right up against the wall here. The Alouettes are at the 4-yard line. There is 55 seconds remaining in the quarter. Barnes going right back to Green. Green with an off left tackle, and I cannot believe it. Who is it? You know who it is. It's Bruce Clark. Bruce Clark holds him to no gain. That luckily did not take too much time off the clock. There's 45 seconds remaining in the quarter. It's going to be 2nd and goal for the Alouettes. Barnes going right back to Green. Green over center. And Green gets 2.
And once again, stopped at the 1-yard line.
Wow.
What is happening with this Argos end zone? Did they actually build some kind of fortifications there? Is there actually a wall at the goal line?
Montreal is spending so much time at the Argos 1-yard line, they might as well put up a condo.
3rd and roll.
It's going to be 3rd and goal from the 1-yard line. We are back in familiar territory. There are 30 seconds to go in the game. Is Montreal going to maybe rethink what they've been doing and maybe, go for the field goal. No, they are not. No, they are not. They are a team that likes to go for it. We've got Barnes. Barnes, he's tried this many, many times before. Barnes with the quarterback sneak. And Barnes is into the end zone. Into the end zone, and the Montreal Alouettes have scored a touchdown, and Barnes has finally had a successful quarterback sneak. Wow.
Wow, this crowd is really waking up now after so little to cheer for most of this season. They can celebrate that. How many times did they try? But they finally broke through that final last step.
So we've got Jerry McGrath on now to kick the extra point. That kick is up, and it is good. It is good. So with that, the Montreal Alouettes have jumped out to a lead here. It is 10-7 for the Alouettes. So with 30 seconds remaining in the second quarter, we've got McGrath staying on the field, getting ready for the kickoff. That kick is up, and it is... That is a 45-yard kickoff.
We have a 65-yard kickoff.
Oh, my goodness. That was a real... He really booted that one. That's a 65-yard kickoff.
Well, Argo's receiving it right on their own goal line. Now, that is a proper kickoff.
Oh, boy. So Argos with the ball. Let's see what they can do on the return. Argos pick up 25 yards. So it's going to be a 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. There are 20 seconds remaining in the second quarter here. Not much time for Jackson and co, but let's see what they can do. We got Jackson. He's going for the long pass. That ball is up. He's looking for Greer. It's up, and we've got Randy Rhino coming over the top and snags the ball. Oh, no. Wow. Randy Rhino with the interception. That is, he's got a real smile on his face.
Yeah, baby! Yeah.
Let's see what he can do on the return. And he picks up 6. So with only 15 seconds to go in the first half, Montreal with the ball at the
44-yard line.
At the 44-yard line. Goodness me.
This crowd is just loving it.
Okay, and they are going for it. So we've got Barnes looking for Baker. That ball is up. And, Preston Young, we've not talked too much about him for the Argos, swoops in with the interception.
And it looks like it's going all the way back all over again. Their celebration was short-lived. He carries it 35 yards right across midfield to the Alouettes' 45-yard line.
So Preston Young intercepts Joe Barnes and brings the ball back 5 yards. There is 1 second to go. Jackson on. He doesn't care about his individual stats. He wants to make something big happen. He's going for the long pass over the middle, and it is, oh, goodness me. Wow. Back-to-back throws, back-to-back interceptions for Jackson. Randy Rhino in there again, and Randy Rhino picks up 10. That is the end of the first half, folks. Wow. Teams getting a little bit sloppy there in the second quarters. Wow, Alex, that things got a little crazy there at the end.
That's what I like to see. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Maybe Willie Wood should really think about the kind of choices he's making. Maybe he should take these Alouettes more seriously. I think in that second quarter, he thought, hey, I have the lead. I can push it down the field. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? He's still going to be in first once this game is over, but really some head scratching there in terms of the play calls.
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is football. You got to take some risks and throw the dice, and especially on this podcast, we love it when they throw the dice.
We do.
So I can't fault the guy for making that bold call And even when it blows up in his face, it's still great entertainment football for the fans. I mean, let's have an interception every other play.
Next time on Third and Roll.
And, you know, the fun thing about this is I love when the offense is this close to their own goal line, because there's always the chance that you could get that special 2-point play that we almost never see. How fun would that be? Crowd is stunned into silence here.
What can you tell us about your experiences of being on The Family Feud?
God, all that assumes I have a family.
Third and Roll is an independent Canadian football board game podcast recorded in Toronto, Ontario in 2019.
Today's episode featured the voices of Spencer, Alex, Bryce, and Subi.
This works for me.
Thanks, Subi. Our cover art is illustrated by Bryce Hall. This episode was edited by
Spencer Adams from Toronto.
Our theme music is Magic Mountain by Jazzar. Brett Brannigan's theme is The Spellbreaker by Tritachyon. Both songs used through a Creative Commons Attribution License and freemusicarchive.org. Ron Booman's theme is Bach's Mach für Dank, performed by United States Army Old Guard Fife and Drum Corps. The Pedant's theme is Bach's Variatio in a 5 clave, performed by Kimiko Ishizaka. Todd Gray's interview music is Bach's Aria Variata, variation number 3, performed by Brendan Kinsella. That's a lot of Bach. All Bach pieces used are in the public domain. If you'd like to help support the show, you can tell a friend or leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher you use. Or you can head on over to patreon.com/thirdandroll and become a patron to get exclusive early access to new game episodes and to become a recurring character on the show. If you want to get in touch, you can find us on Twitter @thirdandroll or send an email to thirdandroll@gmail.com. New episodes every Wednesday. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Third and Roll.
I'm not an afterthought, Spencer, but I'll move on.